The 5 chord boxes are the CAGED, and I call them master chords because any chord you play has its origin in one of these 5 shapes, or as Joe Pass used to call them, forms. So we're going to look at these CAGED master chords here. The word CAGED stands for the shapes that we're going to play. So we're going to play a C shape, an A shape, a G shape, an E shape, and a D shape. Now, these are all major chords. Major is the master tonality because major is the predominant sound that we base all Western music on, all Western diatonic music. So these are all major chords. Now, as we get through into this, you're going to notice that we end up losing this majorness, but we have 3 ingredients. We have a root note, we have a third, and we have a fifth. We need to know the function for each of these notes. The root note is the home note. That's the note that gives the chord its name. So when I play this C chord here, this string here is the telltale. I'm putting these circles on here where my fingers go. Let's me put some numbers there. And that will be on the A string. And it's on the 3rd fret. And if you think about it, this is the A string. It goes A, B, and that would be C. So that's the root note of this chord. So that note is telling me what the name of the chord is. And we also get another root on this because this is the B string here. And if we think about it, B and C are neighbours. If you know my little mnemonic, bacon crispy, then that would be a C. So we'd get another root note there, guys. Root and a root. We've got a CAGED octave. Now, what we also need is the third. So if I was to look at my notes that I need for this C chord, and I go C, D, E. That's my third note up. You can count your triads on your fingers, C, D, E, F, G. Now, you've got to remember to put your sharps and flats in if they're in a different key, yeah? So C, D, E. So I know that E is going to be my third note. And what the third does is it gives you the emotion. That colours the chord. And if we think about it, I just said that the root third and fifth was C, E, and I've not put the fifth in there, but I'll just put it at the side there. C, E, G, okay? So we've got an E now, and I'm going to put that into my chord grip. Now, ordinarily, we don't put the thick E string in. I know it's the third of the chord, but what ends up happening is from that E to that root note there, that creates a minor 6, and it sounds pretty awful against the rest of the chord. So it does clang and clash a little bit, unless you've got some sort of moving bass line, okay? So we want this E here. So this is a D string. And let me just put the string names underneath there. E, A, D, G, B, E. So I know this is a D string. I'm going to go D. I'm going to go to an E that's just there. So that is going to be my third. But if I know this shape, yeah, I know that I get this open E string here, which is going to be my third. So with this shape, I've got 2/3 there. And then I've got my fifth here, which is a G here. I'm going to use this open string, which is there like that. And that is the C chord there. Now, wonderful to notice about this, guys. We've got repeating notes. We've got 2 root notes. And we've got 2/3 and 1/5. So we double up on some of those there. That is the way that we're going to work out that C major chord. Let's do the same thing here with the A chord. Now, I'll just write the names of the notes here. We get an A, a C sharp, and an E for an A chord. And the thing to notice with the A chord is the root note is going to be on the A string. Because remember, we've got these open strings here, E, A, D, G, B, E. 1, 2, 3. Right, so we've got the root note there. Wonderful. But we're not going to play an E string there, even though we could effectively, because the E is a fifth, that would sound a fourth. And a perfect fourth going from there to there, it's muddy and it makes the chord sound a bit dull. But something that I harp on about all the time, I talk about the E, A, and D shape, how they have a common pattern that goes through them. And the common pattern we get through these is the fifth. Oh, I should explain what the fifth does. The function of the fifth. The fifth is transparent, guys. There's no colour to it. What it does is it provides stability. It provides stability to the root note, really. So we could already see that there we've already got the beginnings of what looks like a power chord. But the thing with the A shape is it goes 5R3. Let me just put those in there. Remember this pattern, guys, because it goes fifth, root, third. That's super useful to know. And you can see if there are any repeating notes already. And then on this open E string here, we get a fifth. There's the shape. But you can see we've got 2 root notes and 2 fifths, but we have 1/3 in that. And the C and the A shape, those shapes there, they're 5-string chord shapes. Okay, so now we're going to go over to the G chord. I'm going to write it out in the sort of what I call the Bob Dylan grip. The notes for a G chord are G, B, D. G's the root, B's the 3rd, D is the 5th. So let's put this in here. Look at the strings one at a time. So this is a G. So if we go E, F, we can see a G's here. That's going to be a root note. Quick little tip, guys. Whatever happens here is going to happen the same here on the other E string, because E strings basically mirror each other. E, A, D, G, B, E. That's so you know that it's an E string there. Now if I go here and I go A, B, then that's where my 3rd is going to live, in this one here. So we've got the root and we've got the 3rd there. Now look, we've got the D here, and that's going to be the 5th. So you can see we get this lovely little line of them there. They go root, 3rd, 5th. And I've said this before to you in previous lessons. Look at the way that the C chord stacks up on its first 3 strings. Root, 3rd, 5th. You won't forget this, okay? So root, 3rd, 5th. And look at the way the G chord does it. Root, 3rd, 5th. It's the same pattern, it's just on a different string set. Now, we're going to go across here, we're going to get another root just here. And I'm going to do the Dylan G, and we've got a B. So B is going to be a 3rd. I'm going to put the 3rd there. Notice this, guys. This is why these chords all link up to each other. Look at that 5R3 and that 5R3. You see how they join up? They're linked to each other in how the chords all hook up. Anyhow, that's an aside. I don't want to get into that because that's something completely different. On this E chord, what happens is we get an E, a G sharp, and a B for the E chord. Because it's an E chord, what we're going to do, very conveniently, is we're going to start on the E string. E, A, D, G, B, E there. So I'm going to play this note here, and there's my root note. And then what's going to happen is it's going to do the same thing as the A shape. It's going to go 5R3. So 5th, root, 3rd. That's an E, that's a B, that's an E, that's a G sharp, which is the 3rd. Then we get an open B string, which is going to be the 5th. And then we get an open E string, because whatever happens on that E string is going to happen on the thin E string, because they mirror each other. Right, let's move on to the next chord, which is going to be the D chord. Now the D chord, we don't play the E and the A string at all. The notes that we need for a D major chord are a D, an F sharp, and an A. So the D is going to be the root, and that's going to give us this open D string. While I'm at it, look at these CAGED chords. The C and the G shape that have a completely different pattern that are pointed out to you that go root, 3rd, 5th, root, 3rd, 5th. Those don't have an open string. Whereas if you look at the A chord, it's on the A string. Look at the E chord, it's on the E string. Look at the D chord, it's on the D string. So 3 of the shapes relate to the string. Look at that. Can you see how that works? Interesting to know as well, I can't join those 2 with a bracket there, but this is a 6-string shape, right? So the G shape is a 6-string shape, and the E shape is a 6-string shape. And this is interesting because, for me, the D chord, you can see that when we get rid of the E and the A string, we end up with a 4-string shape. So we've got a D there. Okay, so this note here, this is on the G string. We go up a step, it's going to give us an A, which is the 5th. But if you know already, you know we get 5th, root, 3rd. 5th, root, 3rd. And there's the shape for it. So we get the 5th, root, 3rd there. We get the 5R3 here. Now the reason we want to know where the 3rd is because we're going to get rid of it. We're going to take it out. Because we want to get rid of that colour. We want the home note and we want the transparent 5th to work with each other. And that way they're non-committal. They're non-committal shapes. I'll put this up on here as well. Root, 3rd, 5th. Root, 3rd, 5th. We can double up on the 5th. And the reason we might want to do that is because there's a thing that happens in harmony that when you have doubled thirds, especially on guitar, the guitar is not a tempered instrument. We have to tune things and it's never exactly in tune. So these 2 thirds will be slightly out of tune with each other and those 2 notes will rub. And the same will happen in this shape. And you could, alternatively, put another 5th in there. And by putting a 5th in, which is transparent, you remove that rub because you've only got 1/3. So if you've got 1/3, it makes it easier. Just like on this C shape here, guys. It's a bit of a tangent. We can remove that rub on this doubled third business here by putting another fifth in there if we want to. So if you hold your C chord and you put your pinky on that 3rd fret of the thin E string, you'll hear you get a really bright sound in C. It won't sound as dull. I think when you get rid of one of the thirds, then it brightens up the sound of the chord, just makes it a bit more robust. And because the 5th gives stability, it gives you a more stable sound. But you'll notice that the A, the E and the D shapes, they only have 1/3, and we're going to get rid of those thirds now, guys.